And now, the main news on Radio Chingalo, brought to you by Most Media and Zambia Catholic University.
Radio Chingalo, restoring everything in Christ with love and truth. Good afternoon. With the main news, I'm Patrick Mopeta. Remember, you can watch us live on Radio Chingalo Facebook page and also listen to us on Radio Garden. The headlines: Grizzly Mine donates 600 liters of pesticide to 6 chiefdoms in Lufwanyama. Journalists need to be protected amid COVID-19. Mlutin Stridovic says it will be too early for him to start talking about winning Chan Trophy. The details. The traditional leadership in Lufwanyama is happy with how some mining companies operating in the district have been consistent in paying back to the community through agriculture promotion. The chiefs said this after Grizzly Mine donated 600 liters of pesticide worth 200,000 kwacha meant to combat armyworms, which are reported to be ravaging maize fields in all the 6 chiefdoms of Lufwanyama. Speaking on behalf of other traditional leaders, Chief Lumpuma said the donated pesticides would go a long way in protecting the maize fields and guarantee food security at household level.
A long way to supplement government efforts to fight armyworms which have invaded most of our fields throughout our children. Allow me to mention to you that it is not only this season where the company have supported the district, but they have been doing this similar support in the past. Once more again, I want to thank you for the contribution you have done today.
And Grizzly Mine Manager, Human Resource and Corporate Affairs, David Perry, who represented the firm, said the company would continue fulfilling the commitment it made of helping the farmers through corporate social responsibility programs.
Is in line with other strong commitments that our firm made a few years ago to support farmers whose fields are ravaged by 4 armyworms, and it is therefore vital that other measures are taken to protect whatever crop is available in areas where there has been good rains, such as our place, Lufwanyama. I wish to announce that we are donating pesticide worth 200,000 kwacha, representing of 600 liters of pesticide. As we may know, usually this time of the year, armyworms ravage fields, which affects the yield for the farmers. However,
meanwhile, Lufwanyama District Commissioner Dorothy Chipimpi said government wants the country to be food secure by making agriculture a top priority. Ms. Chipimpi explained this can be evidenced from the early distribution of farming inputs for the 2020-2021 farming season.
Has continued to place a high premium on ensuring food security in the country. As a result of agriculture has become a top priority. Government has continued to ensure that farmers across the country receive inputs on time for aid cultivation. Similarly, government has ensured that the crop when ready is collected through relevant authority organs such as the Food Reserve Agency in Farahe for the timely mobilization of the harvest.
Speaking in a vote of thanks on behalf of the farmers, Benson Chuala praised Grizzly Mine, the traditional leadership and government for their continued support to the farmers in the district.
ekyo kirangulu tunaabekala kyalo ekyabana nebeekala kyalo okukuba ekyokutoota kunfasha ensu kunfanyama okubona emitima enokwete iyo musuulina okuba tepakpoka emiti kyamyaka naye bundu butoota pakutse omulabana n'ebantu benu ab'omulugama baagiriza mulaine okukutootera omutima oyina okusuula nekulangisa ebiribikolera kibulimi omukomazi abo bali muno kwesu mufanyama tamuperere enkaapa febo okutoota kwesu bitendole efukuba tibalesa besu oshushe kampani efukuba ekyokutoota kumbi ku gavumenti yesu.
Now, some parts of the country, as some parts of the country continue to experience fuel shortage, a clergyman in Chingola is calling on government to address the matter with urgency. Life Gospel Fellowship Ministries International presiding Bishop Joseph Kajila regretted that the situation has persisted without government offering convincing reasons why there is fuel shortage. Speaking to Radio Chingolo News in Chingola, Bishop Kajila observed that the continued fuel shortage has the potential to disrupt business operations.
This has been like a situation of turning almost every day now. It's worsening. So there is a problem. What is the problem? Shortage of fuel. Why is there shortage of fuel? It's either we are not bringing in enough or we are not actually processing at index. I want to appeal to my brother, Honorable Nkua, please just come out, show leadership, try this problem, find out where the problem is, and then sort out the problem. If it's the transporters, why are they behaving like that? You need to sit with them and hear from them. What are their concerns? If it is not so, then what is the problem? So you can't just say it's artificial, there's no shortage of fuel, there's no. I think give us hope.
Meanwhile, Chingola district is experiencing erratic supply of fuel. The situation is forcing motorists to queue up for long hours in order to access the commodity. And panic among motorists has gripped Kitwe, with only few service stations having the commodity. At 04 hours this morning, only Lake Gas Filling Station near Luangwa Township had petrol. Some drivers talked to at Wimpy Engine Filling Station around 06 hours this morning said the situation was getting worse, was getting out of hands rather, as it was retrogressive and unproductive. Copperbelt Permanent Secretary Bright Nundwe says journalists need to be protected amid COVID-19 as they execute their duties. And Mr. Nundwe says journalists are critical and frontliners in preventing the spread of COVID-19. Speaking when he donated assorted items meant to fight COVID-19 in Kitwe to Kitwe-based journalists at ZMBC Kitwe Studios today, Mr. Nundwe said there was need to look at the welfare of media personnel. And the Copperbelt PS has directed all town clerks, district commissioners, and mayors across the province to be inspecting markets, bus stations, and other public places with a view of ensuring that people follow the health guidelines given to prevent COVID-19.
Journalists, there's going to be very scant flow of information to the rest of the community. And therefore, we want to commend you that from the time we recorded a single case across the nation, the journalists have always been on board to make the work of government easier and lighter every single moment. To me, it signifies, it portrays, it tells you that you're very critical and very important. Let us take responsibility as a province. You are broadcasting to the entire nation to say, this disease, this virus is a danger.
And Copperbelt Provincial Health Director, Dr. Robert Zulu, is asking people to remain safe amid COVID-19, saying journalists also need to be protected.
In social distance, we need to hand sanitize, we need to wear our masks. If we don't need to attend the meeting, stay at home. Let's choose the meetings that we go to attend. Let's protect our families from coronavirus. Let's protect our workmates, our friends. We need to make sure that we remain safe. What is important is to protect ourselves. I want to agree that the media are the frontliners, just like the health workers. They are at a very high risk of getting coronavirus.
Disaster Management and Mitigation Unit, DMMU Provincial Coordinator George Akalemwa said the protection of the media, who are frontliners in the fight against COVID-19, cannot be overemphasized.
Strict guidelines and strict directives from our national coordinator, who has directed us to make sure that all the frontliners in the province are taken care of. Recently, we released about 50,000 face masks to Commonwealth province, and we did ask us to make hand with the Ministry of Health through Dr. Zulu, so that we identify quite a good number of people who may be able to need these face masks.
7 new COVID-19 related deaths have been recorded in the last 24 hours. According to the Minister of Health, Jonas Chanda, Zambia has also recorded 1,434 new cases out of 11,179 tests performed. And the minister has implored citizens to continue following health guidelines. Moving on, renowned musician Angela Nyirenda has been sharing challenges female musicians face in the industry. Ms. Nyirenda explained that some female musicians fail to excel in the industry owing to lack of support, among other reasons. Speaking to Radio Chengelo News, Ms. Nyirenda is, however, calling on female artists to focus on their musical careers, regardless of challenges they may encounter in the industry.
I love music from the time I was in school. So I was warned that once you start music, you become chan. So I said, but that's not what I want. That's not what I'm going there for. So as a musician, of course, you attract a lot of people, especially a female musician. Once you get on stage, everyone wants you. So it's up to you to know why you are going there. Because, I mean, how many people are you going to go out with as a woman? So you have to respect yourself, know what you want, and the sky is the limit.
As the second wave of coronavirus has severely impacted people in the Amazon, Brazilian bishops have asked for donations of oxygen supplies to help patients in crowded hospitals. Archbishop Leonardo Steiner of Manias released the video on January 16, emphasizing difficulties faced by residents of Amazonas, a state in the northwestern Brazil. He said that during the first wave of the virus, victims faced a lack of information and hospital beds, but added that now the patients are dying from a lack of oxygen tanks. According to the Catholic News Agency in Amazonas, the virus has caused an average of 149 deaths per 100,000 residents. As oxygen supplies continue to diminish, those with COVID-19 and their families have foregone hospitals, and relatives have waited hours to purchase oxygen supplies for themselves. A miner working for NFCA in Chambishi has died in a road traffic accident that happened yesterday near the Chambishi Economic Zone. The miner died on the spot, while 2 others sustained injuries and are currently admitted at Sinozam Hospital. National Union of Miners and Allied Workers, NUMAO, who confirmed the development to Radio Chengelo News, said about 20 miners were on a bus coming from NFCA around 17 hours and got involved in a road accident when the bus lost control. Sosi Mujika is NUMAO National Treasurer.
The other 2 are in the hospital. They were complaining of buying body pain. They were not really serious. I think the person that passed poorly, they went so out of the window.
We move to sports. Chipolopolo coach Militon Srodovic says it will be too early for him to start talking about winning the African Nations Championship Chan Trophy after playing one game only. Mitchell was responding to a question during a press briefing yesterday after the match between Zambia and Tanzania. He said there are too many critical areas in the team that needed to be looked at as Chipolopolo prepares for the second Group D match against Guinea on Saturday.
So if you don't mind this match, I believe that we're going to give this attention to the teams in regards to the type of squad, for example, called a very good coach. It is not easy to play against them. If I'm telling you, the first one great to easy, and then this is the team that has on penalty lost to easy. And when you have that in mind, we need to simply keep the credit to my colleague at that point. And all our focus was on this match. Now, we is for the supporters. For us, it's talking to celebrate. We need now to refocus our mind to adapt, adjust, and acclimatize to the situation that we occurred in the against the team of Guinea.
Meanwhile, Tanzanian coach Iteni Ndairagije says his team still has the chance to progress to the next round if it wins the two remaining matches.
From my side, I would like to use this roster because right now I have to use it to stimulate my goals so they should come to me for the next game. We still have a chance to qualify. We still have 2 games in our head. So if you win, you can go fully and use our strengths and just minimize what we are so our weaknesses. I think that very much have a chance to
Zambia beat the Taifa Stars of Tanzania 2-0 with goals coming from Collins Sikombe and Emmanuel Chagola. This news broadcast comes to you in the community service of Radio Changala with compliments of Mosmeli and the Zambia Catholic University, and now international news as monitored from the BBC. Polling stations in Uganda have opened for the voters to elect city mayors and district chairpersons. Local media are reporting low voter turnout in the local government council elections compared to last week's presidential and parliamentary elections. Political commentator Sarah Biteti told local TV station NTV Uganda that the low turnout was expected as some voters were unhappy with how the general elections were conducted. Popular musician Jose Chameleon, real name Joseph Mayaja, is contesting to be mayor of the capital Kampala. His rivals include Nabela Najai, Dan Zabweri, Godfrey Inyakana, and incumbent Arias Lukwago. Joe Biden is to be sworn in as U.S. president, taking the helm of a nation wrecked by political division, economic anguish, and unrelenting pandemic. Vice President-elect Kamala Harris will take the oath of office alongside him in Washington, D.C., which has been fortified amid fears of civil unrest. Some 25,000 troops will guard the inauguration ceremony after a deadly riot at the Capitol earlier this month. Donald Trump will leave the White House for the last time, bound for Florida. And finally, we move to China. China has committed genocide in its repression of the Uyghurs and other mainly Muslim peoples, U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo said on Tuesday. President-elect Joe Biden's choice of Secretary of State Antony Blinken has said he agrees with the findings. Right groups believe that China has detained up to 1 million Uyghurs over the past few years in what the state defines as re-education camps. Tensions with China have been diminishing further of Mr. Trump's term from trade policies to the coronavirus pandemic. We now end Radio Chingalo Main News, friends, by taking another look at our headlines. Grizzly Mine donates 600 liters of pesticide to 6 chiefdoms of Lufwanyama. Journalists need to be protected amid COVID-19. Milutin Strodovic says it will be too early for him to start talking about winning Chan Trophy. Friends, remember to play your part in the fight against coronavirus pandemic by adhering to the safety guidelines as outlined by the Ministry of Health and the World Health Organization. Wear a mask when in public, avoid large groups and maintain social distance. Avoid unnecessary movements. Wash your hands frequently for at least 20 seconds. This has been Patrick Mpeta with the main news. Thank you very much for listening.